Alrighty everyone, welcome back to the Achieve A Lot series. To get this episode started off, while I complete another set of cooking and fishing daily quests, I want to go over a few items that were brought up since I uploaded the first video. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the insane support I received for the first episode. I uploaded it and didn't even think about it until about a day and a half later at work, and could not believe where the video was at when I pulled it up. I honestly thought it was a YouTube glitch at first before I started looking into the comments. This was truly amazing to see, and I can't wait to see where we go from here, and I hope everyone keeps enjoying the videos. Speaking of the comments, I also wanted to hit a few points on some recommendations that I came across in the comment section of the first episode. First of all, there were a few mentions of Chromie Time being recommended. Chromie Time is a level syncing system that allows players to level sync enemies and quest rewards up to level 70 in any previous expansion of their choosing. This would be very beneficial for a new account, however, as far as I can tell, Classic Zones are not an option for Chromie Time. The oldest zones you can pick to level sync in are the zones from the Burning Crusade expansion. And for now, the plan is to stick around the Classic Zones for a while to level a bit anyways. Another thing to note is that we will hit the Classic Zone level cap of level 30 fairly quickly, and then leveling will slow down from there. That being said, we will continue to stick through the Classic Zones for a bit anyways while we clean up some zone achievements and also work on battle pens and professions from those areas simultaneously as previously stated. I also saw a handful of people suggesting starting PvP right away, as this will be a huge part of the grind eventually. I am aware at the difficulty and length some of the items will bring, but at this time my plan is to start doing PvP on and off once I hit max level. I haven't dug into almost anything PvP related in years, and I'm honestly looking forward to jumping back into it, but I will be holding off for the immediate time being on that. I also got a bunch of recommendations for doing a summary at the end of each episode, and to be frank, I'm not quite sure why I didn't already consider this. So for those that care, here's a quick look at what we accomplished in the first episode, and I'll make sure to do these in more detail to end off episodes going forward. Lastly, I've seen the recommendation of short-term goals alongside the major grinds to make things easier to digest as a whole, and that one we'll get more into very shortly here, but for now, let's jump into what I've been working on. While heading into the Valley of Spirits to begin fishing for another daily, we come to the quest that, when completed, rewards us with the selfie camera. The selfie camera is a toy that was introduced in Warlords of Draenor that you can use to take in-game selfies of your character with, and there just so happens to be a handful of achievements that require us to take pictures in various locations to earn. We'll purchase the required items shortly, but we won't begin progress on these for a while, but the selfies will be plentiful later on. Moving right along, as we work towards completing another Orgrimmar fishing daily quest, we receive the 25 fish achievement. Believe it or not, this is earned by fishing up a whopping 25 items. Upon turning in our toxic puddlefish for the daily quest, we receive our second bag of shiny things on the account, and we actually end up getting the weather-beaten journal from it. If you remember from the first episode, this was our highest desired item from the bag, as it allows us to track pools of fish on the minimap and also directly rewards us with the Fish Don't Leave Footprints achievement upon use. And according to Wowhead, this item has just over a 1% drop rate, so getting this on our second attempt is truly lucky. Let's just hope that's not where all of our good luck goes. We swing back around to the Valley of Spirits and obtain our selfie camera and naturally give it a quick test by holding the camera way too close to our giant Tauren face. We also obtain the quest to upgrade the camera, which comes with additional filters for the pictures and also converts the camera into a toy so it can sit in our collections instead of needing to keep it in our inventory. The quest for the upgrade sends us across a handful of different zones very far away from us, so we won't be completing this one for quite some time, and that's when we'll begin the progress for the achievements as well. At this point, I had given quite some thought to what our leveling path will be, and after deciding on sticking through the classic zones for the most part, I was trying to think of any way of making this a quicker experience than just playing through the zones as anyone else would. And the one thing that really stood out to me to shave off some time was a feature added in the Dragonflight expansion, Dragon Riding, or what is now known as Skyriding. Skyriding is an upgraded form of travel that changes our max flight speed from a measly 310% player speed to a new maximum of 830% speed. When Dragonflight first came out, Skyriding was known as Dragon Riding and was only available to the dragon mounts you received during the expansion's campaign. But at this point, Blizzard has made the feature available to all flying mounts, including the Druid flight form. So our new immediate goal is to begin the Dragonflight storyline up to the point where we unlock the Skyriding skill. So we heed the call of Abyssian that we received some time ago when we first arrived in Orgrimmar and head to the rendezvous point above the Valley of Wisdom. We watch a short cutscene of a meeting between the leaders of the Horde and the Drakthir, and get briefed on the overarching threat that is awaiting us on the Dragon Isles. We then head to the port just outside the gates to Orgrimmar and meet up with Khadgar. He tells us a few more details about what is currently happening on the Dragon Isles and introduces us to a few more lead characters of the expansion through another cutscene. Just to reiterate, we are only swinging through the Dragonflight expansion up to the point where we receive Skyriding, which is fairly early on as it was a key feature of the expansion. So we don't really care about the storyline of Dragonflight for now, but we'll make our way back there at some point and get much more in depth with the expansion's content. That being said, we take the nearby portal and take our first steps onto the Waking Shores. Upon arrival, we complete the first handful of quests for the expansion and also pick up the Dragon Isle fishing skill and add it to the list of things to eventually be worked on. We also unlock the Dragon Scale Expedition Renown track, which is a newer style of reputation for factions that were added in the Shadowlands expansion and beyond, but we won't go into depth on that quite yet as it will be a much later focus. Continuing on with the questing, this first area really just lays out the groundwork for what the zone will have us taking care of, such as dealing with some harsh elementals, learning about a new race of giants known as the Jarden, an ancient enemy of the dragons, and what could be considered the primary objective, saving some dragon eggs from some cultists. With these tasks completed, we then head to the beautiful Ruby Life Shrine to meet up with Alexstrasza and return the Ruby Egg to conclude the first chapter of the Dragonflight campaign. Upon completion, we receive the renewed Proto-Drake mount and unlock the A New Friend achievement. Along with that, we have come to the end of our time in the Dragon Isles, as that also unlocks us what we came here for, Dragon Riding, which is now known as Sky Riding, but the game still calls it Dragon Riding here, and the quest is titled Dragon Riding, but the ability unlocks tab calls it Sky Riding. Ugh. Going forward, if we refer to it again, we're gonna call it Sky Riding. We gotta stop living in the past. Going backwards just a little bit in the gameplay, during a couple of those intro quests, we did also hit level 30, which of course comes with its respective achievement. That does also bring the Breaking the Sound Barrier achievement, which would bring us increased flying, mount speed, but due to our Sky Riding unlock, that does basically nothing for us anyways. One last thing about our improved flight method before we leave the Dragon Isles, there is a small skill tree that is worth noting that you can improve your flying abilities with. During the Dragonflight expansion, you would fly around the zone collecting these glyphs in the air and use those as skill points to improve things like energy regeneration and also to improve your max energy. Now, we would go around and grab just a few for the improved benefits, but at some point this was changed and now you gain skill points simply by leveling up, so those will come to us naturally with progression. However, there are a few additional abilities you gain by completing the intro questline in other zones on the Dragon Isles, but that would require a bit of questing time, so we're just going to take what we have for now, as it's still a drastic improvement over regular flying anyways. Alright, after returning from the Dragon Isles for our slight detour, we complete another round of our cooking and fishing daily quests, and upon turning in our fishing quests, we receive the 5 daily quests completed achievement. We also received garbage from another bag of shiny things. Now that we had a solid amount of gold from questing through Azshara and the Waking Shores, we have a couple shops we're going to swing by. First, we hit up this goblin and his little pushcart to purchase a handful of toys to add to our collection, and also a couple of battle pets. The battle pets we will be purchasing are the Blue Clockwork Rocket Bot and also the Warbot, two easy to obtain mechanical family pets that are going to be very beneficial to have early on. Now, while most of the toys we are purchasing are purely for collection reasons, one of the toys we purchase is actually going to be extremely useful for us, the Soft Foam Sword. The sword allows us to deal critical damage to any low-level enemy without risking the chance of one-shotting them. So whenever we come across a quest that requires us to use an item on a low-health enemy without them dying, this sword makes it possible. We then go around purchasing all of the vendor items we can to unlock as many appearances as possible. You see, in Legion, Blizzard changed how transmogging appearances works, and with those changes came the appearance tab in the collection log. How it works nowadays is that whenever you acquire an item that has a unique look that you have not come across yet, that item's appearance gets added to your collection, which you can then permanently use to change whatever equipment you may be wearing into the look of your choice from your collection. Why am I explaining this, you may ask? Well, for every gear slot comes a respective achievement to earn so many appearances for that slot. These are known as the Fashionista achievements. Most of the achievements require 100 appearances to be added, except for the cape slot, which is 200, and the tabard and shirt slots are both only 15, as they are a bit harder to come across than the other gear slots. Once all of the Fashionista achievements are earned, they culminate in a meta achievement called the Fabulous, which rewards us with the title of the same name as well. While there is not enough vendor items in the major cities to unlock the achievements, there is a hefty amount that can give us a solid boost in our progress towards them. Most of the item appearances will come from quest rewards during our journey anyways. Apparently I lost the footage on this one, but afterwards I did a quick flyover of Durotar to unlock the Explore Durotar achievement, so here's what it would have looked like if I did unlock the Explore Durotar achievement right now. Heading back into Orgrimmar, we then complete another set of our regularly scheduled cooking and fishing daily quests, and if you couldn't already tell, whenever we hit these up, it's more than likely the start of a new day of footage on my end. I've been trying to stay on top of the daily tasks to finish them up as quickly as possible, so I always start gameplay doing them whenever I do get the chance to play the game. We unfortunately received the task once again to catch some toxic puddlefish, a repeat on the fishing daily table, but while doing so, we do earn the 50 fish achievement. Upon turning in our next half a dozen puddlefish, we do receive another of our sought after items from the Bag of Shiny Things, the Strand Crawler Battle Pet, which Wowhead once again states as about a 1% drop chance, so at this point I can almost guarantee all of our account's luck is going into these simple tasks, which is not a good look for our future endeavors. Alrighty, after enough distractions, we are finally heading into our second classic zone that we will be questing in, the Northern Barrens. I said it in the last episode, but I'll remind everyone just this one time, there will always be an Explore Zone achievement and a Zone Quest achievement. Those will not be included in the zone overviews as they are not unique to just the one zone. Anyways, Northern Barrens has two unique battle pets for the zone, the Cheetah Cub and the Harpy Youngling, so we'll be picking up a rare quality version of each of those. The Northern Barrens also introduces us to our first dungeon of the journey, the Wailing Caverns. We'll talk more about dungeons once we get to that point, but for now, that is all the Northern Barrens has to offer us, so let's get into it. We make our way over to everyone's favorite Hearthstone card, the Farwatch Post, to begin questing in the new zone and almost immediately get distracted when we realize that we've come across our first fishing pool on the minimap. We fly over to the Marked School of Sagefish and cast our line out, and upon reeling one in, we receive the Old Gnome and the Sea achievement for fishing in a pool for the first time. This also officially marks the beginning of our progress on the classic section of the fishing profession. Fishing in major cities like we've been doing for the daily quest no longer gives any fishing skill points for some reason, so now that we're fishing in open waters, it's for real now. After a bit of questing, we head to the top of Thornhill to defeat one of Kalimdor's NPC Battle Pet Tamers. These Battle Pet Tamers are spread throughout the world and you must defeat them in a PvP-styled pet battle. They use more strategy than a wild pet battle would show, and are typically made to be more of a puzzle-solving battle than anything else. At this level, we can just out-level and defeat them with superior damage, but down the way this will require much more planning. Upon defeat, we receive a quest that sends us to the next tamer in a progressive order of increased difficulty, and also a bag of pet supplies that can hold a few items that we would like to see. There are a few different pet leashes that we can add to our toy collection. There are also some flawless pet battle stones that instantly upgrade a pet of the given family to rare quality, which would save us some time grinding for rare quality pets in the wild, and there's even a chance, albeit a very slim one, to obtain the Porcupet Battle Pet. On the topic of pet battles, let's take a brief minute to talk about what we're working towards in this set of achievements. While questing throughout the Kalimdor zones, we will be making sure to defeat all of the available pet battle tamers as we come to their respective zones. Once we defeat all of them, we will receive the Taming Kalimdor achievement. This also unlocks the daily quest to defeat the battle pet tamers throughout the region, giving additional bags of pet supplies for more chances at the rare items. And this will continue in a similar vein throughout all the expansions up through Mists of Pandaria, and once we have defeated all the tamers throughout the regions up to Pandaria, we will receive the Taming Azeroth achievement. But that will be quite some time from now. Another thing we'll be working side by side with during the progress for Taming Kalimdor will be the wild pet battle counterpart, Kalimdor Safari, which is obtained by capturing one of every wild battle pet that can be found throughout the region. The Safari achievements also persist through Mists of Pandaria and earn us the World Safari achievement once all of those have been completed. Hopefully this lays out at least somewhat of a vision of what we're working on in the pet battle department, and I'll do summaries every now and again to show our progress along the way. Also, I realize now after spending some time listening to myself say pet battle and battle pet about 100 times, I realize how badly I need to get a pop filter for my microphone, and I'll make sure I get one before I start on episode 3, but thanks for bearing with my chroma quality in the meantime. So honestly, the Northern Barrens quests are pretty boring, so we're going to skip through most of it, but one of the nice things to note is that a lot of the quests involve hunting beasts in this zone, so we are obtaining a lot of materials to get some solid progress in our skinning and leatherworking professions, so I don't really mind the monotony of it. But otherwise, we're about halfway done with the zone at this point, and we finally made our way to the northern part of the map, which means it's time to enter Harpy territory and also begin our search for a rare quality Harpy Youngling pet. It is also worth noting that we go around completing the battles against the Harpies during this search, as I want to make sure I keep our pets leveled with the zone so we progress through them. My one concern is that I run into a pet battle tamer that we can't beat, mostly due to our lack of variety in pets for the time being, so I want to stay a good bit over-leveled for those at the very least. But after a short grind while finishing up quests in the area, we come across our rare quality Harpy and capture it with little struggle. The first unique battle pet of the zone is ours. Okay, I swear this is the last thing we have to talk battle pets on for this episode besides getting the other pet for this zone, but at this point I realized we were actually making progress towards 2 more battle pet achievements I haven't mentioned yet. The Harpy capture marks our first humanoid type battle pet, and there is an achievement for capturing a pet of each type called Family Gathering. I'm fairly certain we'll get this completed while working our way through Kalimdor alone, but if not, we'll get it when we get it. Another achievement I didn't realize we were working on is called Quality and Quantity, and is earned by capturing 50 rare quality battle pets. I had a few people point out in the comments of the last video that grinding for rare pets will take way longer than just upgrading their quality down the road, but we have to work towards this one anyways, so we'll say that's what the plan was all along. And now it's time for our featured quest of the zone. Throughout the zone, we've been escorting this group of caravanners to different settlements across the Northern Barrens, typically with a few buttons for some vehicle combat abilities to fight off some raiders and some aggressive wildlife as well. This ends with one final escort leading from the northern part of the map all the way north to the gates into Ashenvale. But I wanted to highlight this one specifically because it's pretty funny from a gameplay perspective, and I'm not sure if this is how it's supposed to play out or if the enemy spawns are based off of how fast you take down the threats, but there ended up being so many enemies on the screen during this whole run to the point where it was comical, and half the enemies would just spawn in and do nothing, waiting for their fateful end. I didn't know how much of a threat anything actually was, but I was dying laughing while spamming the action keys to make sure I didn't find out and have to start all over. We called it a night after finishing up a few more quests, and to start our new day, we hearthstoned back to Org for another round of our incredibly exciting daily quests. And yes, I realize I'm using 3 tracks from Mario 3D World in a row, but they all fit the desert/savanna vibes of the Barrens and I couldn't pick just one, plus they all slap anyways. Upon completion of our cooking daily, we have now completed our daily quest for 5 days in a row, which earns us the achievement titled A Simple Request. We also make a quick pit stop before heading back to the Northern Barrens and swing by the bank to deposit some materials that we've collected but won't get any immediate use out of. And while we're here, we purchase the 7 additional bank slots available to us, and in doing so, earn the Safe Deposit achievement. After returning to the zone and a bit more questing, we get sent on yet another beast slaying task, and while dwindling the local turtle population yet again, we hit 150 skill points in the classic skinning profession, earning us the Professional Journeyman achievement. Does anyone even have nostalgia for the OSR's Hunter level up sound? It just doesn't hit quite the same for me as the other ones do. As the questing leads us into the southwestern corner of the zone, we do a quick flyover of the Wailing Caverns area to uncover the last bit of the map and unlocking the Explore Northern Barrens achievement. For our last little bit of questing in the zone, we fight alongside some Horde warriors to defeat a clan of centaurs, completing the final chapter of Quest of the Northern Barrens, earning us the Northern Barrens Quests achievement. However, we are not done quite yet. We still have 2 more tasks to complete while we're here. First of all, we will be heading over to the Wailing Caverns, our first dungeon we'll be completing on our journey. The only thing worth noting for now on dungeons is that the dungeons for Classic and Burning Crusade only have achievements for defeating the final boss of each instance. So for now, it's just a quick run through without much to talk about. Once we enter the dungeons and raids for the Wrath of the Lich King expansion and beyond, that's when this section of achievements gets much more in depth. But like I said, for now, it's just a quick run through clearing out the trash and the bosses, and an achievement earned at the end. Wailing Caverns as a dungeon always holds a special place in my heart, as it was the first dungeon I ever did in WoW over 10 years ago, and it always felt really epic with the maze-like layout that it has, which is unlike the other early dungeons you would do, like Reachfire Chasm and Deadmines. But anyways, we make our way through and defeat Mutinous the Devourer, and earn what we came here for. As Wailing Caverns is a very beast-heavy instance, on our way to the boss we also earned the Professional Expert achievement for hitting 225 classic skinning skill points. After completion of our first dungeon of the journey, we are left with one final task before completing the Northern Barrens. We need to find a rare quality Cheetah Cub battle pet. The Cheetah Cub is our first pet whose spawn mechanics are known as pack spawns, which means their appearance is tied to another NPCs. This time around, it's the Plainsland Cheetahs. These cheetahs are found pretty much throughout the entire zone, typically sleeping under trees, so I have been checking the Cheetah Cubs while questing as I find them, as they appear at a less frequent rate than most of our sought after pets do. But after we had completed the Wailing Caverns, we shortly afterwards find our rare quality cub and capture it with ease. And thus ends our tasks within the Northern Barrens. That's where we're going to call this second episode. But we're not going to end this one without a summary, so let's go over our progress so far. We began this episode with a total of exactly 200 achievement points. In this episode, we gained 6 new achievements in the profession category for a total of 60 points. We gained 3 character progression achievements for 30 points, 4 quest related achievements for 40 points, just 2 exploration achievements for 20 points, and we also earned our first achievement in the Dungeons and Raid category for an additional 10 points, bringing our new grand total to 360 points across the account. I also wanted to quickly apologize this episode took me so long. Work has been killing me recently, so my time to work on this has been pretty limited, let alone finding time to even play the game. But it should settle down pretty shortly and I'll be able to focus on this project a bit more, and I'm really looking forward to it actually. Thanks again for sticking around. Don't forget to sub, like, and comment, of course. The feedback from the last one actually helped me out a ton, so I really appreciate the comments. But otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful life. See you in the next one.